The video you are about to see was shown twice on primetime national television in Canada. It exposes a harsh truth that our universities do not want you to know, that the PhD program is horribly and destructively flawed. Every year, across campuses in Canada, the United States, United Kingdom, and elsewhere, tens of thousands of graduate students enroll in these programs. Every one of these students is a highly trained professional, and yet, over the course of their studies, around 50% will be arbitrarily forced from their programs for no valid academic reason. Moreover, as the 18th December 2011 Economist magazine argued, those who are successful will graduate with a gold-plated ticket to nowhere, having spent years of specialized training to acquire learning for no jobs that exist. This appalling scam has been going on for approximately 75 to 100 years. If you are considering a doctoral program, then watch carefully what follows and reflect seriously on how you might better spend some of the most productive years of your life.
In any other profession, it might be called a union ticket, but in our universities, it is called the Ph.D. or Doctor of Philosophy. Getting that title is tough, and the academic qualifications you end up with may be no qualification at all. Many of our brightest students can spend 10 years or more at a university and still not get the Ph.D. It costs the taxpayers millions of dollars, and the dropout rate is enormous. As few as 10% of students in some programs actually get a Ph.D. Many just lose interest, but others find the system terribly unfair. Wilfred Cude is one of those. Denied his Ph.D., he started a crusade against the whole system, and a lot of academics are listening. In Britain, the Thatcher government has actually cut funds to universities that produce too few Ph.D.s for too much money. Turning out academic doctors is a big investment, and every taxpayer does have a stake. Eric Malling has this report.
Convocation at the University of Alberta. 1,500 scholars will get their degrees. But not this one-time student revisiting the scene of his academic failure. His name is Wilfred Cude. It's a big university, second only to the University of Toronto in the number of students who graduate every year. And this year, more than 100 of them will reach the highest rung on the academic ladder, the Ph.D. Now they can call themselves doctor, a title that to Wilfred Cude doesn't mean much.
I think the Ph.D. in the humanities and social sciences is a waste of time intellectually. It's a waste of time as a preparation for university teaching in those disciplines. It's expensive, time-consuming, and stupid.
But the accepted wisdom is that researching, writing, and defending a thesis or dissertation makes good scholars and good teachers. A generation ago, 40% of university teachers had a Ph.D. Today, it's more than 70%. As a result, no one gets very far in the system without a Ph.D., but getting it can be frustrating. It often takes longer than becoming a medical doctor or a lawyer. And after years of study, a student can still flunk out, sometimes for trivial reasons like getting on the wrong side of a professor. But look at Canada's great scholars. Robertson Davies, Master Emeritus at the University of Toronto, or Northrop Frye, who has more than 30 honorary degrees, or a writer such as George Woodcock, formerly of UBC. You find they have one thing in common: no Ph.D. It's the same for this man. Theodore Streleski spent nearly 20 years trying to get a Ph.D. in mathematics from Stanford in California. Finally, in frustration, he killed his professor with a hammer blow to the head. Streleski had no regrets. He said that killing his professor was morally and logically correct. 7 years in jail, still unrepentant.
Has any implication along the lines of, gee, I'm contrite, I'm sorry, I wish I hadn't done it, gosh, okay? I don't want to do anything that says I didn't mean it, because I meant it.
The pursuit of the Ph.D. can arouse strange passions. Wilfred Cude certainly doesn't condone the murder of a university professor, but he says he understands the extremes to which a graduate student can be driven in the groves of academe. It's a theme he brings up every time he makes a speech.
Now, if you find me offensive, remember, I have written a book. I didn't take a hammer. I did not go to the courts. I appeal to you as scholars. Hear me. I'm the voice from the crowd. Now, my dissertation was an evaluative study of 4 contemporary Canadian novels.
Cude's audience comprises the elite of Canadian universities, the deans of graduate studies meeting in Montreal. His Ph.D. dissertation was a tub-thumping review of novels by Margaret Atwood, Robertson Davies, Mordecai Richler, and Sinclair Ross. Most of Cude's writing was published and well received in scholarly journals. But when he submitted his work for a Ph.D., he was turned down flat.
The University of Alberta refused me permission to defend my dissertation as in a final oral examination, and therefore I do not have the degree. The fact is that nobody really knows how many people out there are like me. I mean, that is the honest truth. Statistics Canada has what they call attrition estimates, and just for the record, in the humanities and social sciences, which enroll some 60% of the people in our graduate programs, the attrition rate officially is estimated by StatsCan at 50%. In the sciences, it's a little lower, 30 to 40%. Canadian Journal of Higher Education just came out this January, gives you these figures. You might compare that to attrition rates I've read, estimates, in the medical schools of less than 10%. We really must ask why there is this enormous discrepancy. Now, the answer I'm giving you is simply that the system is not working.
None of the deans seemed ready to disagree with Cude. But does that mean his experience was not that unusual?